At the large scale, a deep mid to upper level trough is sagging down the eastern US, anchoring a broad area of relatively cool, unsettled air across the southeast. At the surface, a stationary front extends from South Texas through northern Florida into the Carolinas, with a remnant low lingering near the Georgia-Florida border. Moisture remains abundant, with precipitable water values lingering impressively between 2.1 and 2.5 inches, well into the climatological upper range for this time of year for South Florida. This is your recipe for a highly moist and unstable environment, especially when aided by scattered upper-level disturbances. Here in southeast Florida, that moist air is locked south of the stationary boundary, while the low-level flow is weak and light from the south to southwest. Add that to strong daytime heating and the ubiquitous sea breeze interactions, especially where Gulf and Atlantic coasts collide, and you've got bursting thunderstorms once again. High-resolution guidance suggests rainfall generally around 1 to 2 inches, with pockets potentially reaching 3 inches or more, especially if storms stall over urban corridors. The Weather Prediction Center keeps South Florida in a marginal, level 1 risk for excessive rainfall. Urban flash flooding remains a concern. Storms could also rotate up gusty winds and frequent lightning. This afternoon, expect pervasive thunderstorms initiated by sea breezes inland, gradually drifting back toward the coast. Temperatures are still rising into the upper 80s to low mid-90s in some spots. In other words, southern Florida remains hot, humid, wet, and primed for inland late-day convection, a persistent theme driven by sea breeze convergence, upper-level support, and saturated Gulf Atlantic moisture. Up the peninsula toward Melbourne and central Florida, much of the same holds. We've got a lingering front near Lake Volusia counties and trailing outflow from overnight storms. Plenty to flick the convective switch as the east coast sea breeze climbs inland by midday. Rain chances hover around 80%, and any stronger cells carry the risk of 40 to 45 miles per hour wind gusts, lightning, and torrential downpours. Steering currents, namely 700 millibars winds, remain weak, meaning storms drift slowly and may hover or drift offshore. Now, into southern Georgia and the Atlanta area. Here, the stationary front has slipped south of the region, drawing in drier air and ushering in a more tranquil end to the summer heat. Skies remain mostly calm, with just a small chance, 15 to 20%, of isolated storms, mainly in the southeast fringe. Conditional instability is low, but any isolated cells could still produce gusty winds or lightning. Overall, temperatures are subdued, lower humidity, and highs well below seasonal norms, producing quite a pleasant feel compared to the Florida peninsula. From a geographic standpoint, southeast Florida is narrow, sandwiched between Gulf and ocean, with plentiful moisture and frequent sea breezes. Central Florida's interior plains interact with coastal moisture, while peninsular latitude shifts influence diurnal cycle strength. Georgia, by contrast, is further inland, under the influence of continental air masses that have cleared out much of the humidity and impeded convective development. For pilots, in Florida, expect afternoon thunderstorms, frequent MVFR brief IFR conditions, overhead, especially near sea breeze collision zones and urban cores. Lightning, gust fronts, and flash flooding potential demand heightened situational awareness. Storms moving slowly over infrastructure can produce rapid water accumulation. Up in Georgia, general VFR prevails, though isolated cells could create localized turbulence or brief visibility reductions. To summarize, macro scale. Deep upper trough over the east. Surface boundary stretching from Texas to the Carolinas. Moist, unstable air mass across Florida. Florida mechanisms, sea breeze collisions, weak steering, abundant PWAT, 2.1 to 2.5 inches, Urban flash flood risk. Georgia contrast. Dry air. Front pushed south. Isolated showers only. Comfortable temps. Minimal aviation disruption. Think of Florida as the slow-moving steam engine of convection. Moist, simmering, bursting with storms. While Georgia is the cool shoulder breeze. Calm, dry, and just cooling things off after summer's heat. Have a safe flight and keen eyes on those radar returns.